And the market is shifting. It's already here. So what do we need to know about the shift? What do we need to do?
That's the thing is we enter a shift. I think the first goal is keep it where it was and then grow from there. So let's talk about that. How do we do that?
Today, I'm honored to get to talk to my good friend and yours, Mr. James Shaw. James, how are you today?
I'm good, Mark. Thanks for having me. Good to see you.
Good to see you. It's funny. You're kind of known as the shift guy around here, and we've been waiting 14 years for one of these things. So we're going through the longest economic expansion that we've ever experienced in our country, and the market is shifting. It's already here. Yeah. So what do we need to know about the shift? What do we need to do?
Well, I think the first thing is what you just said. We've been here before, right? So we take the lessons from the past and we bring them into the present. And that was kind of the first lesson I think we need to know from a shift, Mark, is that there's opportunity in transition. When the market moves from one spot to another, that's really where our opportunity shows up. That if you can take advantage of that, you'll win more often than not. So whatever we're going into, it actually equals opportunity for real estate agents all over the place.
So talk to us about what agents need to be thinking about. There's so many agents out there, James. The market's shifting. We went through a market where listings were tight and it was hard to get a listing. And so what can I expect in terms of the law of equilibrium?
Challenge is now you actually have to work. You have to, what you say matters. How often you talk to people matters. How dedicated you are to doing the right things day in and day out matter. So your skill set becomes totally exposed. You got to practice your conversations because what you say matters more than it's ever mattered. You have to role play with a partner, right? So practice on a peer instead of practicing on a potential client, because practicing on a potential client's expensive. And then you have to get really great at systems. Do you have a system for price reductions? Do you have a system for showing feedback? Do you have a system for keeping buyers updated on what's going on and getting them through the process?
Another way to say that is we're leaving a speed-based market, right? If you're the first to the listing table, I forget the last stat, last year it was 80% of the time or something like that, the first agent took the listing. Yep. And 90%, one of two took it. So if you're not in the top two agents in speed, you don't get the listing. And when inventory feels tight, it's all about speed. Talk to us about what happens with market share over the next couple of years in a shift.
NAR has said 1 million fewer transactions in 2022 compared to 2021. There are going to be 1 million fewer deals. So that's a constricting market. And as that happens, your goal is to make sure that your unit number doesn't change from the year prior. So if you did 36 units last year, do whatever it takes to do 36 units this year. Do that in a market that's down and you keep your units the same, your share of the market goes up. Your opportunity to increase business later goes up.
So what you're saying is if you just keep your units the same as last year and the rest of the market goes down 20%, you've actually gained advantage in market share. Is that right?
100%. Yeah, you move up the line, you maximize your opportunity. And Gary says in the book, he says that not getting lead generation done day in and day out may suffice in a hot market, but it will put you out of business in a cold one. So when I hear that, I go, all right, so we've been in this hot market for many years, and the pandemic only amplified how hot it was. And we had many agents, Mark, who succeeded at a high level, and we know they weren't consistent in their lead gen plan. And then we have some that weren't consistent and didn't succeed. It was may, right? You may succeed or may not succeed without lead generating in a hot market. But when the market cools down, Gary says you won't succeed. It will put you out of business. He's very definitive in that. So I think what we have to do is sit and look at our lead gen plan. And are we committed to doing the right things, doubling down on what's working, and that you're going to do lead gen before you do anything else every day?
Gary said yesterday in a meeting, it may mean that agents have to spend an hour or two more per day in lead generation. They may have to talk to an extra 20 or 30 people per day in order to keep their business where it is right now, the top agents. So what say you, my friend?
Well, Gary's right, and it's true. You double down on lead gen to keep your business from going down, not necessarily to grow it. But in order to grow it, you have to at least keep it where it was. And that's the thing is we enter a shift. I think the first goal is keep it where it was and then grow from there. So let's talk about that. How do we do that? Page 15 of Shift, Gary says, build a fortress around what you have, right? Build a fortress around what you have. Mark, you know this. The only thing that each of these agents has that nobody else has is their database and their personal relationships in it. That's the only thing that each person in this company and every real estate agent on the planet has that's unique to them is their database. And Gary says you have to build a fortress around that. So that means you got to talk to them more often. And it's really clear, and he spells it out in the book. 3 to 4 hours in the morning and an hour in the evening. And the hour in the evening can be done. You can sit on the couch and watch whatever your favorite show is and text 15 or 20 people if you want to, or DM them, whatever you want to do. I think we got to get into a flow where we are regularly engaged with our people, talking to them, checking in, adding value, and seeing how we can help.
Yeah, I think another thing to add here is that, Gary talks about becoming the local economist of choice, and there's going to be some fear out there. But it's almost like people are like, we better cash in now. So if you aren't improving your skill set around becoming a local economist of choice, if you don't know what every neighborhood average days on market's doing, what the tax rates are per that school district, with how the schools are in that school day, if you don't know all of those things, it gets a little dicey. For those of us who've had a pretty good run the last 5-10 years, whatever the case is, we've never had to actually lead generate daily. How would you coach us?
Well, I think I'd follow the DTD2 system that Steve Schlueter and Tammy Youngst have taught us through never-ending referrals, and you hear it in bold, and that's the break down the database by 2 letters a week by last name, and that removes the call bias. And so then just call those people. That's it. And I think the easy way to talk to them is just ask how they're doing. I think we get caught up in what am I supposed to say or what am I supposed to talk about. Mark, I just call and ask how you're doing, see what's going on, and ask if I can, if there's anything I can help you with. If they purchased a home from you in the past, or if you know they're a homeowner, update them on what their home value is right now, and then ask what they would do with that equity that they've got, and go from there. But realize that your job, I think we have 2 jobs, and Gary said this at Family Reunion. He said, our job is to provide perspective to potential buyers and sellers, and I would add our database. We need to provide perspective to potential buyers and sellers and our database. And then number 2 is just add value to people. Check in and just see what can you do to help. And if you come from that approach, hey, I want to check in with my people, see how they're doing, how can I add value to them, how can I provide perspective to them? If we do that enough times on a daily basis, then we'll win more often than we don't. You will build a fortress around what you have, and majority of the opportunity inside of your database will come to you.
I love it. So I want to talk a little bit about Pivot Shift Ahead and what you've built. Can you tell that story briefly?
So I'd started this little group, and we were going to do a call just to kind of call from this book, right, to kind of keep our mindset right and focused. And I don't know, we had a few thousand people join within the first week, and then Jay Papsan reached out and said, let's do this together. And so we did, we partnered, and now we have 105,000 people in this Facebook group. We've got about 3,000 that participate in the call every morning, either, live or watching the recording of it. And we meet 8:00 Eastern for 20 minutes. And I'll tell you, there are really smart agents out there, because they're talking, what I love about this call, real world strategies, techniques, things that you can implement that are helping people in their business right now. And we're getting them in real time from producing agents out in the field. And so I'm proud of what we built. And I thought we'd do the call. When I started in March of 2020, I thought we'd do it until June. I never said a year, so I guess, I'm right. But here we are, 2.5 years later, still doing it.
But the shift is here, and we have the answers. And James is a phenomenal coach and teacher on all things shift. So buy the book if you don't have it. Join the Facebook group, and you will be so far ahead of the competition. We're going to soar right through and grow market share through this shift. James, thank you. Have a great day.
Thanks, Mark.
Grab the mouse and just click here. I know you want more of these.